Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for bearing with us while we took a quick 5-minute break to stretch our legs. We rejoin our party in the hoard of a pink pearlescent dragon, Lord Meadowsweet, previously thought of as a potential friend, now revealed to be an ancient enemy from a war 500 years gone and done with. The party has been successful in fleeing from Lord Meadowsweet after he transformed into his adult dragon form. They were headed into his large hoard, a room full of a level of gold and opulence that adventurers can only dream about, and were confronted by a strange creature with large rhinestone eyes and tentacles covered in the jagged bits of discarded treasure. They defeated the creature, and luckily revealed that it had burrowed for itself handy tunnels through the hoard and into other rooms of Meadowsweet's lair. The party escaped underground just before they heard the distant footsteps of Lord Meadowsweet, finally coming to collect his dinner. So as we rejoin them in strange tunnels, what would you like to do?
I would like to run.
I would like to pull out my banjo and start singing.
I just got that song stuck out of my head after 2 weeks of being there. How fucking dare you?
I don't write the adventures. I'm just the participant.
The secret tunnel is there.
Secret tunnels.
I will say Lord Meadowsweet's tunnels deeply... they preceded this whole adventure long before the secret tunnel, secret corpse room problem that we had in our last adventure.
A likely story.
Yeah,
I'm just mad you couldn't traumatize me with apples, so you had to come up with something new. Anyway, Thorn wants to run down the tunnel.
I also support running.
All right, so you're gonna book it down that left tunnel, continuing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's only one tunnel through after the mirror, right?
Yeah. So after the mirror, there's the one tunnel. There was the other two that went the other direction, but you have abandoned those ones already, or at least
correct. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So you continue to book it down the tunnel, and this one's pretty long. So you're continuing to weave your way through what seems to be like someone sort of picked the path of least resistance as they were burrowing this tunnel through the marble. You can see that there's the striations of the different colors all on the walls around you, but nothing has been bothered to like polish or sign it to anything to a shine. It's all very loose and like recently carved and gouged. You are heading down these tunnels for a decent enough time that you think you're probably past the chamber, even how large it was above you. If you had to guess, you've been going for a good like 10-15 minutes at this point now, as it weaves back and forth and kind of takes you down and up. You eventually, though, come to what you think might be finally the way out. It seems as though the tunnel comes to an abrupt stop and turns straight up, and is going right up through the stone up above you, almost like a well. And you can see there's a little bit of light at the top, but it's very faint, like something's muffling it.
Selwyn, go check it out.
So Selwyn, the tiny little basically plush fairy that you've crafted and turned into your familiar, flitters off your shoulder and spirals up into the air into the tunnel. As they reach the top, dancer. It is a sky dancer. You just pull a little thing and it spins away. As it reaches the top, as you share its eyes, you are able to see that whatever has covered the entrance to this tunnel looks to be fabric. And the tunnel sort of narrows down from where it was decently large to basically being just a little bit thicker around than probably like pork roll.
Ooh.
But just near the top. And then there's some kind of fabric covering over the top of it. There's some light shining through, but you're not sure like what's beyond it. Unless you want Selwyn to like push at the fabric or something.
Zach, you gotta turn off your mic.
Oh, I didn't think I was touching it.
Selwyn will look.
Okay. So if Selwyn wants to push through, they're gonna need to give me a strength check.
Okay. Oh no. Okay. -3.
So Selwyn backs up and goes flying forward, hits the fabric, and it feels it give a little bit, and then it snaps back and sends that sends them on a tailspin down until they.
I got you. I got you.
You basically catch them in your arm, and when they look up at you, in the little fabric that's stitched to their face is just these swirls, like the little dizzy swirls from a cartoon.
Twitter's gonna like hold them in their arms. Are you okay, Selwyn? You did a good job.
And it just kind of blinks up at you, and the swirl slowly fades away until there's just the normal stitching of its eyes left behind.
Is there a ladder, or is it just a carved
Just
tube?
a carved tunnel. I will say with your passive, as you look at it, you can see that there are parts that are still gouged in that definitely would make like handholds if you wanted to try to climb.
I also have pittons in my bag that we could try to hammer in.
Look at you being prepared.
This is what I do. I make stuff.
Would you like me to try and make my way up and stick the pittons in on my way?
You with
Unless
the
anyone else feels a burning
-1
desire.
Strength.
Who else is gonna do it?
Pork roll's gonna do it.
Can Porkroll climb?
Pork roll's the strongest
can do
person in this
everything.
party.
Porkroll can do anything Porkroll sets their mind
Okay,
to.
I've got a Porkroll.
I'm gonna have Pork roll go in and smash in some pittons on his way up.
Okay, so I will say, just have Porkle give me a strength check for their climbing.
Strength or athletics?
If they have athletics, they can use athletics. I wasn't sure if they were trained in that.
Oh, Pork roll is an athlete, a professional jock.
Given that we're all focusing on this and like it's an obvious party effort, Flip is going to give Porkroll some guiding whispers. So if you want to throw in another D4, if he can.
With the D4, that brings it to a 24.
Every time.
Yeah, so you very easily... Their metallic claws dig into the stone and they
Also,
pull themselves up.
He's a cat, of course he climbs things.
Yeah. And they're able to
I always
jam some of the
think
pittons
Porkroll
in
is
to
less
make it
mobile than
easier
he
for you.
is. Like, I always imagine Porkroll as a lucky cat who, like, can't move too well.
No, there's just an act that he does, just so people leave him alone. He just, like, baps them in the face.
He does that.
Boop. I do that as
but
well.
Luckily, Porkroll is a fully articulated samurai pizza cat and is therefore able to climb up the side of the tunnel fairly easily. Even when actually it's kind of helpful when it gets tighter because Porkroll's able to brace themselves and just sort of skitter up, getting to the top of the tunnel. They reach the same place where the fabric is covering. Do they want to stop there or do they want to keep pushing through?
Porkroll's just going to push through.
I would say with their size, they don't have the same problem that Selwyn did. They push a paw through, and basically as they push, the whatever covering's on it falls off and moves and seems to fall out of the way, and they climb up out of the hole.
Porkroll, what do your cat eyes see?
Now you cannot
No.
share Porkroll's vision, and Porkroll cannot communicate with you.
Porkroll understands every language that I speak. But
Yes, but they cannot talk.
Porkroll can just pantomime.
As you yell that up,
Twid will send Selwyn flying back up too.
okay, so Selwyn spirals back up and comes flying up and sees Porkroll standing there at the edge of this, whatever was basically the edge of this tunnel. The tunnel seems to come out on this very side of a room. The room itself is set up very much like what you'd expect, like kind of an opulent bar to look like. There are a number of tables set around that are all set out with like a very nice mood lighting, and you kind of came out what looks to have been a bench seat. Basically, it's the covering for like a bench seat that was in the back corner. As you look around, the room probably could sit about 50 if it was set up for it, but most of the tables seem to have been kind of like left that way for some time. You can see little bits of dust sort of settled on a number of the tables, except for the ones near the very front. There's like this very nice opulent bar that has like a fully done cabinet of liquor behind it. And there's a table there that has a fresh vase of flowers set on it. And you can see that this place is definitely set up to be like, it has the ambiance of being a very high scale tavern.
I think this opened up into a bar or a nice tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Are there no people in the room at all that Selwyn can see?
No, so I will say if you want to have them investigate, can you give me a quick investigation check, and they can actually flitter around and look around the room a little bit more, because that's just their like snap impression.
Is it dark? Because they don't have dark vision.
It is not dark, thankfully. The whole thing has mood lighting, so it's definitely darker than like you couldn't read your menu by this light. You'd have to get a little bit more light to see by, but it is like enough to see the area.
15.
So they take a moment to kind of gaze around the room, and you can see that like all of the tables have been set up like they're ready for some kind of service. There are unlit candles in the middle. There are flower vases on most of them, but they have pretty much are just empty except for a couple others that have flowers that have long since kind of like dried out. There is nobody else in the room that you can see, but there is what looks to be like a stone statue set inside the bar that is basically set right up against the cabinet that is structured, that is carved to look like a yuan tea. So it's carved with human features, but you can start to see to one side the scales have been carved in as it's transforming to a yuan tea, like the very first yuan tea you ever met. And it's pressed up against the wall, eyes closed. And you can see it's like this mottled stone.
So I don't see anyone up there through Selwyn's eyes, but there is a yuan tea statue, which
Where the fuck are we?
probably isn't good.
I mean, might as well climb up and find out. And Flip is gonna kind of try to scurry up the pittance that
Same.
Parkroll left behind.
So you're all going to climb up. You climb up into this strange moment, and you look around. The walls are set up to look... so, like, the best example I could make of it is think very much of, like, a nice Italian restaurant. It has those stuccoed walls, and in several places, someone's obviously very painstakingly painted, like, nice pastoral. These ones, instead of being like the ocean, look like they're, like, very beautiful mountainsides have been painted. Several of them covered with these lush pink flowers that sort of go across the whole meadow, and you can see the mountains in the background, the sun above. It's very pastoral. The whole place is designed to give you this very like inviting, lush feeling. The hardwood of the tables looks authentic and like darkened. So it's just very out of place for you in a lot of ways. Is this home of ancient dragon? But it has this kind of like homey, lived in, like this place has been closed down, but it's a place. Like it feels like something real.
Is there a bar?
There is, yeah. The far wall has a bar that is like a very nice long oak bar that has a ton of liquor in the cabinets behind it. And you can see that there is indeed several like bottles set out on the counter itself.
Flip is wandering over to wander behind the bar and preferably look for some Tildavian liquor, but just like pour himself a shot and down it.
Okay, so you walk around behind the bar, and as you take a look, you are able to find a particularly nice vintage of Tildavan wine. Like, it doesn't take you long at all. The label is obviously, every label is turned out so you can very clearly see what's supposed to be the liquor in the cabinet, and you pull it open and you can see that there is indeed a Tildavan whiskey.
Excellent. Yeah, 2 shots. Be like, anyone else? I just learned I fucked a dragon, so, I need a moment.
I do not drink while my life is in peril, but thank you.
If you're serving, I'll take a glass of wine if you don't mind. Can I have a Pinot Grigio?
Twit is gonna go look at the statue a little closer.
Can I get a Pinot Grigio, but like, can you fill the glass with ice first? Because I really just like it really cold.
Oh.
Wow.
Just call it Valent Basic.
I'm
But yeah,
always
so
stating facts.
You look behind it, and I will say, like, with your experience your family having a background in producing Tildavan liquors and stuff like that, this is expensive. And it's a cross section. Like, it's definitely from several different parts of the Shadowcar Islands. You're like, oh, I know this island. Oh, I know this cove. Like, you know the other families that produce the good liquor, and most of them are represented in this cabinet.
After, like, downing my shots, I'll, like, realize what I'm looking at. I'll be like, I mean, we can't be too far away if they still have, such a nice selection of Tildavian liquor. I mean, at least we know we're not on a different plane of reality.
That is a comfort, I suppose. I had not considered that as an option.
I don't know where dragon lairs can be, but I assume some of them aren't.
Are there windows?
As you look around, there are not windows. It's anywhere that like you would expect a window to be is where you see one of those frescoes that someone has painted.
Is there a door?
Yes. So for this room, you can see that there are 2 doors. There is one to the left of you that seems to be set towards what you would consider like the front of the chamber, as far as you can tell. And then there is another one that's basically to the right of the bar, sort of tucked next to that statue, is a doorway that leads further in.
Well, they're all drinking, and I assume stealing liquor. Thorn is going to slink over to the door that, in my mind, would lead out of the establishment, not further in.
Okay, so you want to go towards the door at the front, and you were going to look at the statue, correct, Twid?
Correct.
So as you get close to the statue and you take a look at it, you look for a second, and you notice that the stone texture sort of shimmers for a minute, and then slowly starts to fade away. And when beneath it becomes the color of like these lustrous, like soft green scales, and then human skin, but it has also started to tinge itself green, like that very like almost cartoony, like I'm very sick green. And after a moment, the eyes flutter open, and the Yuan Ti figure turns down and looks at you. Greetings and welcome to the home of Lord Meadowsweet. Of what service might I be?
No, absolutely not.
Twitter's just gonna try and slowly back away.
I apologize. May I offer you a drink or perhaps something to eat while you're here?
Are you real?
I am indeed a corporeal being.
That's something I would say y'all should run.
Are you alive?
Yes, I am alive. My name is Haljar, and I am a Yuan Ti in service of Lord Meadowsweet.
Thorn is like not breathing, just begging the universe, don't let him notice me, don't let him notice me. Like the T-Rex, if I don't move, it can't see me.
From behind the bar, Flip is just going to be like, do you want to be in his service?
Of course, what other purpose would I have but in the service of Lord Meadowsweet? It was he and his siblings that freed me from my human failings and made me what I am today. Service is how Yuan Ti grows.
Oh, do all his siblings live here?
And it kind of tilts its head at you a little bit. It is very unusual to see a verdant among Lord Meadowsweet's associates. But yes, to answer your question, not all of his siblings dwell here, but a number of them do use the hub as a way of traveling.
Traveling where?
I'm sorry, I'm not at liberty to discuss that information.
And where exactly is this hub located?
I'm sorry, I'm not at liberty to discuss that information.
What are you at liberty to discuss?
I am available to offer you any food or drink you might prefer, or any necessary entertainment while you wait for Lord Meadowsweet or one of his associates to be available.
Calvin's just gonna like butt in and be like, so like, where are we? What town are we in?
And it kind of like freezes and looks at you, and blinks a couple times. Am I correct in my assumption that you are unaware of where you are currently located?
No, I mean I know exactly where I am. I just want to make sure that you know where we are.
Very Calvin answer.
Have you considered having your human failings removed for you? They can be most inconvenient.
I feel like Calvin's gonna like look down at his arm that is like partially clad in metal and magic and be like, I'm working on it. We're getting there.
That is good. It is important to think of ways that you can better yourselves as one of the lesser species.
So back to the question though.
I am not at liberty to say exactly where the hub is, if you are unfamiliar with its location.
I mean, where's this bar?
Are you asking where the bar is within the hub?
Yes.
And it like looks away, and it has a moment of confusion, like it's trying to figure out a way to answer your question that is both accurate but also like.
Yes, we broke it with logic.
This bar is a tavern maintained by Lord Meadowsweet for entertaining of his guests. You will find that there are guest quarters, and points down to the door that was leading further in. Guest quarters available further in if you would like to rest and refresh yourself. Otherwise, if you continue out the main door, you will find yourself back at the entrance to the hub.
Wonderful.
And access
Thank
to the rest
you.
of the rooms.
That's all I needed. And Calvin's just going to turn and go to walk out.
Thorn's gonna like open the door and try to move beyond it as quickly as possible so this Yuan-Ti does not see me. Because like if Valen wasn't a giveaway, I feel like Thorn is a giveaway.
And as it sees you walking away, it says, "Please let us know if there's any service we can be of while you're here." And it steps back, and as it leans against the wall, that same rush of like stone color rolls up its body until it freezes back into place.
God, I hate thralls.
Well, that was terrifying.
Well, that will feature in my nightmares. I don't know if I'm comforted by the fact that we now know where we are.
Do we?
I still don't really understand where we are, besides the hub, which is a traveling place.
I can think of perhaps 2 locations where it is. I don't know which is better.
Boston, Massachusetts, hub of the universe.
We are either in an abandoned Arden Scale city, preferable, or we're in Rion. Either way, we have a very long walk.
I just want to get out of Lord Meadowsweet's house.
So
let's
you
work
left
on
this
that.
room, correct?
I'm like in the doorway.
Yeah, so if you push open the doorway and you look out, you find yourself in, not dissimilar to what you saw before, the Arden Scale Gardens that you saw in Naram Sin's office, or that saw of Naram Sin's Athenaeum. This room has a large fountain in the very center that is sculpted to look like a dragon, sort of getting ready to fly off, and where its wings are spread out, water is pouring down the back of its wings and falling into the fountain. The sculptured dragon itself is the same soft pink color as Lord Meadowsweet, but is obviously sculpted down to be more like of a human size. And it's as the water pours into this fountain, you can see that inside it's tiled in these beautiful, sumptuous, and colorful tiles. And around it is a number of flowering beds that are filled with the same, with a number of different colored flowers. You can see each bed contains a different type of flower.
To match the Regalia Ateliers flowers.
I will say, if you pull out the list of Regalia Ateliers flowers, they do indeed match the Ateliers.
I mean, we got to give them credit. They're very consistent with their branding.
It's all about branding. You got to land heavy with your brand. So you know that there are azaleas, daylily, chrysanthemums, forget-me-nots, meadowsweet, monkshood, anemone, delphinium, and flowering tobacco. And they've all been laid out in these different beds to like sort of space around the large fountain in the center. And definitely you can see there's a couple of benches set out. So this whole area feels a little bit like someone took a garden and like pulled it underground. Because there's still a stone ceiling above you. And there is just several glowing magical lights above sort of floating down this like nice like summer sun sort of level of illumination.
Were there azaleas?
There are azaleas, yes.
Okay, I was just checking. I was like, are they on the outs with azalea?
No. So you do see all of the different flowers that you were looking that you know to be within their symbol, the card that you were given.
Is there like a clear exit to this chamber? Is it completely sealed? I'm trying to get out of here.
Yeah, so this one actually has there's a large archway that leads further away on the far side, and then along the walls you can see that there are this is actually set up to look as though you are looking at like the fronts of stores or like the fronts of houses. So someone has carved the stone to look like business fronts.
Are we in Disney?
It has a little bit of that feeling of like someone has taken this. It's a facsimile. It's very like skin deep, but someone has definitely put the time, money, and effort into making this have a very like accessible pastoral feeling, and it gives you very much like a village vibe.
Does it smell like fresh baked bread and chocolate chip cookies?
It smells like the flowers, and then I will say in the distance you get like that you feel this breeze rush through, and it's that cold, crisp like mountain air.
Out the big end exit.
Yes, run.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah. Take a moment to stop and like take it all in, and then like, let's keep moving.
Yeah, and as you rush through the garden, you can see, like I said, it's all very nicely laid out, and it definitely seems like it gets some meticulous care. Like every flower bed feels as though someone comes by with a pair of scissors every morning and cuts down anything that's not growing the exact way they want it to. And as you're looking around, you can see it looks like there are business or house fronts along the sides of this garden. But what's always interesting is that where this buildings start to meet, where you would expect there to be like an alleyway or like other entrance, it goes in a little bit and then just becomes plain stone.
So, sorry, are they just like painted on, or are they more like carved out?
They're carved out. So it looks as though everything comes out about a foot. And then where it would go around the sides of the building and like lead into alleyways between buildings, there's just blank stone inside of the gaps. So it's like home fronts. Like one of them has been carved to look like bricks, another has been carved to look like it's wood.
So they're okay.
Yeah,
a little more realistic than just like painting slapped on the wall.
Yeah, so these aren't like mosaic, because this is like someone went to the trouble of like carving them out nicely. And a couple you can see have actual what look to be like working doors. And there's one that has like a large window display that when you look inside of it, you can see contains a number of like common goods.
Do any of the others fronts look like recognizable? Like, yeah, none of them have like signs or anything that are like blacksmith.
No, there's one or two of them that have what you know to be like the very simple trade signs. So you can see one of them has a symbol of an anvil over it. That's one of the ones that does not have a real door. You can see what looks to be like a general goods store. When you look back, you can see that the tavern front is actually made to look like a tavern front that would lead into that bar that you just left. But like none of them stand out as being, none of them are named. No one has carved out like the Lazy Prince or something on the front.
Which ones look like they have real doors?
So there is the one that looks like it's very much like a general store that just has some general goods like set out in front of it. There's one that looks to be like a gem merchant that you can see has a number of gems, and you can see that carved on the door is the symbol of the Regaliant Atelier.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna carefully see if that door is locked.
You're gonna
So you go over to
explore
it?
rooms while we're running from a dragon.
Not
Well-
all the times, Flip.
It seems like they might have stuff hidden behind these ones. I'm looking for the non-obvious way out of here.
I think that's more for their guests.
You're a guest, technically.
Hostile ones.
I mean,
I just don't want someone to say the wrong thing and then for all of these thralls to like start setting off sirens. Because like we, from the moment, have the element of surprise of he does not know where we are. I would like to keep it that way.
You think he doesn't know where we are?
I think there's a couple different ways we could have gotten out of that room, and he's going to have to figure out each one.
I think if you break into his office, he's gonna know where we are.
Okay. Given everyone's hesitation as I like go towards the door, everyone's like,
I'll say if you
ah!
look at it, you do see that it's a real door, and you can see that it has a glass window set into it, like it's a storefront. And someone has laid out a number of expensive pieces of jewelry in the window, so you can kind of see like the craftsmanship of it. And as you look beyond, you can see that it's dark inside, but there is it looks to be a storefront inside that looks much bigger than the front of the building.
I'm trying the door.
As you turn the knock, and the door is like freely swings open for you.
And it just looks like what I saw from the outside?
Do you step in?
No.
All right, so you push the door open, and as you look in, you see several torches, like braziers and torches, start to light along the walls and along the floors. And as they slowly warm up, as you look beyond, you can see there's definitely what looks to be sort of like a showroom of various pieces of like fine jewelry and craftsmanship. But beyond is this a large workshop that has been set up that is freely accessible, that has a number of tables covered in like raw gemstones, all the tools you would need to like cut and shape and forge jewelry of your own. And it is definitely an operation that could hold probably about like 20 different craftsmen all working at the same time.
For a second, Flip is like, oh my gosh, like, I know a ton of Almer who would love this setup, and like, oh, I
know a
should be
bunch of
really...
crafters who would love to have this at home.
Exactly. But then he's like, I don't really care about any of this. And realizing that it's just what it appears to be, shut the door and kind of go back.
Okay, and I will say when you're inside, when you look to the left and the right, you get the feeling like this workspace covers several of the storefronts. The ones that are fake. Yeah, and it has very much like a workroom setup.
I'll just rejoin the others and kind of be like, I thought, maybe they would have like a secret door somewhere that the way out might be kind of hidden, but it just seems like they have a weird aesthetic choice.
Have we noticed, like, does Meadowsweet wear a lot of, like, fancy jewelry?
Yeah, so when you met Meadowsweet, they were wearing pretty much a ring on every finger.
It's the Artilier's, at least publicly, their primary trade is in jewels.
Yeah, so if you remember when you met Brunera explained to you that they started as a consortium of gem merchants who all decided to go into business together, and then they got into the business of magical items and like exotic goods and arts, and they became patrons of the arts.
And are also evil dragons.
I mean, one of them's a dragon. Evil, like, you barely know him.
He's trying to kill us.
I mean, but he did give us a head start, and then he stopped for wine. So, like,
Evil and stupid are not. God, what's the opposite of synonymous?
Mutually exclusive.
Mutually exclusive. You can be both.
He said he wanted to eat my spark.
He did call me a salad.
Let's not give him the chance.
Big door down the end of the hall.
Big door.
So you head down to the large archway, and when you walk through it, you find yourself in a tunnel very similar to the one that you ran down when you first arrived, and you fled from Lord Meadowsweet. I assume you continue to head down it?
Yes.
You head a decent distance down the tunnel, and as you get to the end, if you peer... I mean, are you stealthing, or are you just walking straight through? Like, what's the situation?
We are not the party of stealth.
Okay, so you just walk out?
Poor Cole and I make too much noise to stealth.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
so you walk out and you look out and you find yourself back in the room that you started in. So this is that large, almost amphitheater feeling room that has the 2 giant dragons carved on it. And it has the 5 tunnels. You are in the second tunnel from the left. So the tunnel you went down is right to the right of you, and then there's 2 tunnels beyond it, and then there's another tunnel on the left from here.
Shit.
Do we see any sort of like leftover magical thing that he used to teleport us here?
When you look out at it, you can see that there is definitely an area that's marked out as having what would probably be like a more elaborate arcane sigil in the tiles on the floor, but there is no like lingering magical effect that you can see.
There's no dragon in this room?
No, so as you take a moment to look around, absent is Lord Meadowsweet himself, and in the distance from the tunnel to the right of you, you hear the sound of like a bunch of like loose coins and other things falling to the ground and scattering, and you hear a voice, come out wherever you are. I'm starting to get hungry.
I would like to identify the teleportation circle thing.
You're going to take the minute to cast Identify?
Off of a scroll.
Okay, off the scroll. So you're going to burn the scroll that you have?
Uh-huh.
You rush over, pulling out the scroll and like mouthing the words to the scroll, and kind of slide it over and slap your hand on the carvings just as you finish. And as it does, you are suddenly filled with the knowledge that this is a anchor for a gate spell. And that it can be used to summon the gate spell, but someone is currently deactivated. You would need some kind of key or emblem or the correct passphrase to open it back up again.
But Identify tells me the key or passphrase.
I mean, it does if there is an actual passphrase.
Oh, dumb.
And not a key.
Different tunnel this time? Not the one that leads to the treasure
Taking
hoard?
the grate. So there's the treasure. There's the one that goes to the treasure hoard. There's the one we came out of, and then there's 2 more.
Oh, there's 3 more. So there's 5 tunnels total that come off from this hub. There was the one you went down that was the middle. The one you came out of, which was to that like fake village. And there's 1 more on that side, and then there's 2 more on the other side.
I mean, are we getting out of here by just like escaping this building, or do we think we're kind of locked in here and are gonna need to like teleport away somehow?
I mean, I can't teleport. Can you?
I don't think any of us are strong enough to teleport.
And as much as I would love to, I don't think any of us are strong enough to kill him. So we need to find a way out.
I did a pretty good first hit.
I am not disregarding that, but the fact that the hit was big does not negate that he has a lot to give.
Aw. Okay.
I say the tunnel next to us.
Let's move.
Yep.
Okay. So you quickly turn, kind of coming out of the chamber, spin back around, and head down that tunnel. It doesn't take you for very, very long to find like the first part of the tunnel that you've gotten to. You come to what looks to be like a portcullis that has dropped over the middle of the tunnel, and carved in the side of it is a doorway that leads you into what looks to be like a guard station.
Does it have like a mechanism to open the gate?
I mean, you'd have to step into it, because when you look into it, it's a little bit like a barracks room. Like there's some beds and stuff, and the desk set up at the very front of it, and there are some stands where you can see like armor has been set up, but there's no one currently in it that you can see.
Is the metal of the portcullis fancy?
It looks actually to say it's not fancy very much at all. It's sturdy. And I will say, with your experience as a smith and stuff like that, in particular, which you notice of interest, it is lead. Or at the very least, a large portion of it on the out, like whatever it's plated in, is lead plated.
Head into the guard booth.
Okay, so you head into the guard's room, and what it reveals is that you're basically in a room that is 2 floors. There is a large gallery that runs along the upper floor that you can see up into that seems to have what looks to be more desks and things at the top. And it almost has this, it has a bit of like a military office feel to it. Like there's space for people to sleep, but they're in like little alcoves to the side, and the main floor is definitely broken up to be like practical, with a section that's all arms and armor that has been set to one side. And what you notice is that there are 2 statues, like the ones you saw in the other room, in the far wall, set into 2 of the pillars near the back, and that are a Yuan-Ti woman and a Yuan-Ti man, both wearing like heavy armor.
Is there a gear to open the gate?
You have to do an investigation check, something like that.
Don't walk up to those statues, Twin.
18.
I wasn't going to.
What was that total?
18.
18? Yeah, with the 18, spend a moment kind of looking around the room. You see that a lot of what is the way it's set up is, it's very like the room that you were in before that was the fake city. It feels kind of synthetic. Like all the cots and stuff like that, as you get close to them, you realize have like no padding to them at all. They are literally just someone like made up a fake bed. And the desks, when you look at several of them, have paperwork on them in complete gibberish.
They definitely are going to great lengths to create the appearance of an established base. At least on this side of the curtain.
But I didn't find anything to open the gate.
Nothing that jumps out at you on this floor.
It's kind of like we're in a giant dollhouse.
No, thank you.
We've really been inside Twit's mind this entire time.
Twid's in control of this entire universe. It's Twid WandaVision.
Head back and try a different tunnel.
So there's no gear on either floor?
You're just on the main floor. You haven't gone up into the second floor.
Try the second floor. I'm gonna stealth up there in case it's like glass and we could be seen.
If you want to give me a stealth check, there is a stairwell to one side that's like a little spiral staircase that's set into the wall that will take you up.
22.
So you very stealthily like, skitter up and it's easy because the whole thing is made of stones. There's no wood to like shift under your feet. Everything is, you just very quietly pad up there, and as you sort of slide your head around and look outside on the main floor, this gallery, same thing, doesn't feel as though anyone's here that you can see. You do see that across from you, there's an alcove that has been carved in that has a number of figures. You guess probably about somewhere in the ballpark of a dozen statues from what you can see, because part of the wall is like obscured from you, of more of the Yuan-Ti statues.
Is that all I see? Like because I'm not moving from where I am. Do I see anything that looks like a control panel, a lever, a gear?
Yeah, to one side on the left, back towards where the portcullis was, you do see a large mechanism that's sort of set into the wall next to what looks to be like different from the others, like a real desk.
Thorn is going to whisper down, get ready to run. And Thorn is going to, because I still have my 40 feet of movement, bolt over and try to open the door before any of these statues activate.
Give me an intelligence check really quick as you run up to that to try to figure out how to like activate it.
17?
17, yeah. So you rush over, you take a quick look around at it, and you think like, oh, this must be... And you slam your hand down onto what it looks to be a lever. As it pops down, you hear the sound of like chain running through the back through the wall, and then you hear a loud clang in the wall several times. And then you hear in the distance the grumble and screech of metal against metal from where the portcullis is.
not even waiting to see it move. I'm basically jumping down the stairs, like I'm not even trying to make the corner. I'm just getting out.
Okay, so you come rushing down the stairs, and you see, as you hear this loud crash and boom, and the sound of like all these metallic like contraptions in the walls like firing off, you suddenly see Thorn come barreling down, running past you and out towards where the portcullis is. As you slide out the door and look to the left, you can see that the portcullis has actually fallen down, and that there you can see that the last bit of the like spikes from it are sliding into the floor, letting you into the tunnel that goes beyond it.
As Thorn runs by, says, I did a thing. I don't know what I did.
I feel like as soon as they call down, we're all like, ah! And then when you drop down, we're just like scrambling behind you. At least Flip is.
Well, especially because it was so quiet, and all of a sudden it was like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, Thorn fucked up. Thorn made a lot of noise.
I think Meadowsweet knows where we are.
It was definitely like oh shit, let's run. Okay, what's happening? We're just gonna run. Okay.
Twid's legs are doing the like cartoon, like just rolling around.
Thorn is moving faster than you've ever seen them. They are just fueled by rage.
So all of you are just bolting full all of your movement to get out of there.
He knows where we are now.
In the distance, you hear a loud rumbling roar roll out through the tunnel behind you.
Oh fuck, oh fuck.
Oh shit.
So you are running, and this tunnel starts to feel more natural. There's a point where you burst out of the really constructed tunnel and into what looks to be an actual cavern underground. You can see that there's a waterfall falling to the side of you into a large pool with stalagmites and stalactites sort of meeting in the middle, and there's a gap up in the wall high up above you, letting in natural sunlight. And then you are continuing to charge down this like paved and well-made tunnel that leads further into these natural caverns.
How high up is that gap?
The gap is probably about 80 feet up from where you are right now. Oh shit,
never mind.
In one of those, so the part that you're in, it feels lower and the walls come down, but this section where the waterfall is kind of comes up like this big like flume, and at the very top is where you see the large opening that has the sunlight coming in. And the tunnel continues further down.
Pork roll, can you carry me for a second?
Pork roll just kind of looks at you.
I was gonna send Selwyn up to look while you're still carrying me, but I can't see or hear or do anything really when I'm like that.
I feel like Pork roll like looks over at Calvin, gives like a sigh and his shoulders drop, and then he just like comes over and scoops you up.
So this Pork roll scoops you up as Selwyn zips off your shoulder and up towards the opening. As you let your vision fade and you take over Selwyn's vision, there's this really disorienting moment of you're flying very quickly, and it feels like it's definitely that moment when the what's it called? When the roller coaster drops and you realize you're in no control of the motion that you're in, and you kind of like go to grab something, but there's nothing there because you're occupying Selwyn's mind. Selwyn bursts through the gap in the stone, and there's just blinding sun for a second. And as it fades, Selwyn looks down and realizes that you're sort of on this side of this big mountain range. Very the feeling of like the Alps. There is snow up above Selwyn on the mountains, and there's a number of mountains around you that are also peaked with snow in the distance. But as you look down below, there's a valley that's like nice thick woods, like pine woods, going down into what looks to be like a nice large city. Not quite as big as Truehome, but definitely like a city more than village that sort of spreads out into the valley below you. And you can see that wherever you are, you're somewhere in the mountains just above it.
Twid, like, just laying in Pork Roll's arms, like, dramatically, even though, like, technically Twid can still move, they just can't see or hear. Twid is just gonna go, oh no. And, like, sit back up and, like, pop Selwyn back to them and go, we're in the mountains with a lot of snow near a big city.
Rihanna, Pretender's Crown.
Can I make a history check?
I mean, sure.
19.
I mean, there are some snowy mountains. In particular, the mountains that are between Rion and Rotenia has been filled with blizzards and snow since the great blooming that happened, since it's the flowering season 500 years ago. That's what cut off Rion from Rotenia and allowed Rotenia to become its own country. So it doesn't sound unfamiliar, and you know that part of the world is filled with like pine forests and things of that nature.
Perfect.
Will a natural 20 plus 2 give us any more?
You didn't see it yourself, so you don't have enough context to know like we're in the mountains, there are pine, that's normal, that's a very common occurrence, there's snow. There are a number of cities that are set in the mountains, in Rion and Rotenia, but there's also, like, across the globe, there is a lot of places that match this.
Yeah.
If we had time, I could paint a picture, but we should probably keep running.
Do you stay in Selwyn's eyes, or do you return?
We were running the whole time.
I returned to...
Yeah, because I was going to say, you were gonna lose your connection to Selwyn in a minute anyways. And you continue down the tunnel?
Booking it.
You keep running, and you come to what looks to be a large, like, natural jagged cavern opening that has the same sunlight pouring into it as you basically keep booking down the tunnel in the distance.
Clearly, this is the area not meant for outsiders, so this might be the way out.
As I say, girl, we ain't stopping.
You just keep
Fucking
going?
hope.
No, just run.
I'm gonna stop when I get to the entrance in the hope that there's something to step onto.
You burst out towards where the entrance is, and for a minute you're blinded by the sun. As you look down, you realize you're in that pine forest. There's pine trees kind of rolling down the mountain away from you, and you can hear the sound of bird songs and like the distant chatter of animals. And you can see just like a pathway that leads down. And it's not a big path. It's giving you very like animal track, goat trail, like barely used riding trail in the mountains that sort of leads down away from this tunnel into the woods.
Yeah.
Which way was the city, Twid?
Does Twid have any sense of which direction the city was?
You're pretty sure that because the pathway is leading down mountain, the city was down mountain from where you are.
Do we destroy the tunnel entrance, or do we just keep running?
Say once Calvin sees everybody get through, he's gonna cast Tasha's Caustic Brew at level 1 and just kind of like spray the whole entrance down with acid.
The rock starts to bubble and pour down a little bit and starts to buckle, and you see one or two like small bits of rock kind of crash down. I assume you don't stay to watch it work.
No, just spray and go.
Spray and go. And I will say, as you are running into the woods below, the air here is crisper and cooler than Rotenia that you left behind. It has that fresh mountain air that you were smelling up in the tunnels above you. And I will say, go ahead.
Like, Thorn's gonna do the weird scout thing and like sniff the air, like my home, Valen's home, different mountain air. Do I recognize this air?
Give me a survival check as you're trying to like get your bearings. You're deeply disoriented by this whole experience, and you are not sure.
It's totally
as you're running, I will say, Flip, you hear in the back of your mind, look at you, breaking the rules and running away already. I said I wanted a little exercise.
Sorry.
I'm disappointed. Oh, I can't do that, can I? Because you have your ring of mind shield. You hear nothing.
So would I think I would recognize that he was trying to contact me, though, so I believe could choose to listen.
Yeah, I will say with the ring of mind shielding, you're immune to determine where you're lying. No, you're... Let me make sure I got it right.
Creatures can telepathically communicate with you only if you allow
Only
it.
if you allow it. You feel a presence in the back of your mind attempting to communicate with you.
I'm gonna, like, however I need to, like... It's a very small lowering of the psychic defenses with a very much like a, I'm only letting you do this because I want information from you.
I didn't know you could be so coy. I guess I'll just have to come and find you.
I guess I can't really respond, can I?
You can respond to a message.
Okay. Oh, right. Sorry. You don't have your hooks into us as much as you think. We're getting away from you. And then just, like, violently cut off the connection.
Okay, so you feel the shields in your mind from your ring of mind shielding slam back into place, blocking any further, like, detection magic or mind reading. As you go barreling down this mountainside into the woods below. And I will say that is where we're going to end for tonight. During the curtain on, you have escaped the lair of Lord Meadowsweet, the pink pearlescent dragon, and you are in some place that you don't recognize, but it has a lovely pine forest, and you're getting some delicious mountain air, which is probably very good for your health.
Into the woods.
So thank you everybody who joined us tonight. If you enjoyed and you want to keep following our adventures, definitely think about giving us a follow and come join us on Wednesday as we learn the Cortex system and we start our very own homebrew game set in ancient Greece as the players take on the mantles of the muses and seek to find future heroes and forge them into legends. Thank you everybody and stay safe out there.